So in number 7, the first thing we need to do is factor the two denominators because they both have a GCF. So this one, I'm going to pull out a 2 and I'm left with x minus 1. And this one, I'm going to pull out a 3 and I'm also left with x minus 1. So we need to identify what the LCD would be now. So they both have an x minus 1, but the left side has a 2, the right side has a 3. So now we just need to say, okay, well, we know that x minus 1 is going to be part of my LCD, but I have a 2 and a 3, and the LCD of those two numbers is 6. So we ask ourselves, what am I going to multiply the left fraction by so I get 6x minus 1 on the bottom, which is going to be 3 over 3. And on the right side, 2 over 2. So this is going to turn into 9x, because I multiplied 3 times 3x, plus, now I'm going to put parentheses here, so we have 2 times 3x minus 2, all over, now it's 6x minus 1. And now we're going to simplify that numerator into 9x plus 6x minus 4, which turns into 15x minus 4. There's no common factor. We can't take a GCF out of that numerator. So that is the numerator, and we are left with 6x minus 1 on the denominator. Okay, so number 8. Number 8 is x over x plus 3. And then we have 2x plus 6 on top. So I'm going to factor out a GCF of a 2 right now. And we're left with x plus 3. And the denominator factors into x plus 3 and x plus 3. So we're going to identify our LCD. I'll do that up here. Our LCD. Now this has 2x plus 3's. This only has 1. So our LCD is going to be x plus 3 and x plus 3 to have 2. And all that means, though, is that we don't have to touch that right side of the fraction. So this is the only one that gets multiplied by x plus 3 over x plus 3, and we leave the other one alone. So now the numerator is x times x plus 3 plus 2 times x plus 3. So now we're going to distribute on the top twice, and we're going to have x squared plus 3x plus 2x plus 6, which simplifies to x squared plus 5x plus 6. So we know the final answer is going to be over our our least common denominator. But I want to see, does this factor? What multiplies to give you 6 that adds to give you 5? And that's going to be x plus 2 and x plus 3. So this is what's going to go up here. And what do you notice? These cancel out, so your final answer is x plus 2 over x plus 3. Alright, so in number 9, I'm going to also factor first before just copying down the whole problem. So I'm going to take out an LCD of 2. So I'm sorry, not an LCD, a GCF of 2. So I'm left with 2x squared minus 15 all over, and then that's the difference of 2 squares, so we have x plus 3 and we have x minus 3. And then the others don't factor, they are just 2 factors. I'm going to put them in parentheses for now. Now we're going to identify our LCD. This has x plus 3 minus, this has plus, so we're going to put those together to be our LCD. And just like the one we just did, this left side doesn't need anything to be added to it. It already has the LCD on the denominator. So on this side, I'm going to multiply it by x minus 3 and x minus 3. So if I distribute that 2, I get 2x squared minus 30. And then I'm going to keep this a negative, but I have to put parentheses because it's technically minus this whole numerator. And we need to distribute or FOIL this. So we have x squared plus 5x minus 3x, so we have plus 2x, and then minus 6. This is going to simplify 2x squared minus 30 minus x squared minus 2x plus 6. And one more time, adding like terms now, we have x squared minus 2x minus 24. Let's see if it factors. What multiplies to give you negative 24 that adds to give you negative 2? And that's going to be x minus 6 and x minus 4. So we completely simplified the numerator. We're going to add back in that denominator and see if anything cancels. And unfortunately it does not, so this is our final answer for number 9. Okay, and then number 10. Alright, number 10, the denominator factors into x plus 8 and x minus 8, because that's the difference of two squares. And this has a denominator of just x plus 8. So our LCD, just like the one we just did, is going to be x plus 8, x minus 8, and we don't have to touch the first one. So this one is just going to be multiplied by x minus 8, x minus 8. Sorry, I have to write over my LCD. Okay, so the numerator is going to be 2x squared plus 64 minus, again, parentheses of the whole numerator, x squared minus 8 minus 4x is minus 12x plus 32. Now I'm going to distribute that negative. 2x squared plus 64 minus x squared plus 12x minus 32. And lastly, we're going to add like terms again, and we get x squared plus 12x plus 32. And then we ask ourselves, does this factor? What multiplies to give me positive 32 that adds to give me 12? X plus 4, x plus 8. Put it over our denominator, x plus 8, x minus 8. And you notice that this time we do have two factors that cancel. So our final answer is x plus 4 over x minus 8. Alright, two more problems. Number 11. Alright, so number 11 is 2x plus 1 over x minus 2. And then we have x minus 3 and x plus 1. So nothing can factor, and we have two different denominators, which means my LCD is going to be the two factors put together. The left side doesn't have the x plus 1. And the right side doesn't have the x minus 2. Notice though that as I do this, I'm also putting in parentheses so I know that I need to FOIL. And I'm going to have to actually FOIL twice here. So right here turns into 2x squared plus x plus 2x plus 1. Over here we get plus x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. So I'm going to add these middle terms while combining like terms, and I'm left with 3x squared. Over here we're going to have 3x, over here we're going to have minus 5, so we have minus 2x, and then we have plus 7. So now we want to see if we can factor, and the option we would have to factor here would be slide and divide. So you ask yourself, okay, 3 times 7 is 21. Well, multiplies to give you 21, that adds to give you negative 2. Well, nothing. So that means this cannot be factored, and this is our final answer for the numerator over our LCD. And there we go, that's our final answer. Okay, last problem, problem number 12. So this first fraction doesn't cancel, or I'm sorry, factor on the denominator, and this one does. We have the difference of 2 squares on the denominator. Okay, now the LCD for this one is going to be long. Maybe I'll write it down here. It's going to be long because you have 3 completely different factors on the denominator, and all of these factors together make up our LCD. Again, you go through the problem and you ask yourself, what does the left side not have? Well, x plus 8, x minus 8. And on the right, this doesn't have the x plus 4. Alright, so what I'm gonna write this all out first, and then we'll start simplifying. So we have x times x plus 8, x minus 8, minus x plus 36 over x plus 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to FOIL this. And since this is a difference of 2 squares, we get x squared minus 64. And I have to go one step further on this side, but I'm going to FOIL on the opposite side first. So we get x squared plus 40x plus 144. Now, I didn't write this right now, but you have to remember we need parentheses because there's minus to this whole left side. So that whole FOIL problem needs to be in parentheses. I'm going to distribute over here and get x to the third minus 64x minus x squared minus 40x minus 144. Keep simplifying. X to the third minus x squared minus 104x minus 144. This isn't going to factor, so we are left with that as our numerator, and then we're just going to put in our 3 factors. And it doesn't matter what order. You probably noticed that my order keeps changing for the denominator. But there we have it. It's a little messy and busy, but that's our final answer for number 12.